Starstruck, you got me a starstruck. Oh yeah. Yes, Starstruck, you heard me right. Starstruck was a live-action Disney fanfic movie that made you feel like you were in a fairy tale, but in real life. Starstruck is about a Midwestern girl who goes to California for nothing more just to see her grandparents for the summer, while her sister tries to find her idol. One night she meets the rising pop star by chance. They go on an adventure to Los Angeles and they really start to like each other. When the girl returns home, the pop star says that he has no memory of her and he never met her. Now, I have very mixed opinions about this movie, so let's get into it. So the reason I'm talking about this at all is because it's on Disney Plus, like most movies are on Disney Plus, and I haven't seen this movie since I literally was little, so I had no real opinion on it when I was little because I was so young I didn't get the concept of the movie. I feel like that's the same thing with Camp Rock. When I was little, I loved it. Watching it now, I'm like, why did I like that? But anyway, I feel like it's the same thing with Camp Rock in a sense. I feel like it was the same, similar concept to Starstruck, but I feel like it was much more different. I feel like as I got older, I learned to appreciate it more. Because the first thing I'll say about it is that it was a cute movie. Even back then, I thought it was really cute, and I did really admire it. And growing up, rewatching it as a 20-year-old, I realized it's still the same cute movie. And I definitely would say right off the bat, it's definitely one of the underrated ones, like the most underrated Disney Channel movie there could be. And here's the thing, this movie seems really good on paper. That's mostly because it seems just like a fanfic. but this is a really unpopular opinion and I'm probably gonna get some hate for it. But the main protagonist, her name is Jessica Olsen. She's the main girl who meets the pop star. Well, she is probably the most, irritating person I've ever seen on Disney Channel. And that says a lot. I'm not talking about a show in general. I'm talking about Disney Channel. Disney Channel. And I know her personality trait's supposed to be kind of snippy, kind of badass, kind of a little rude. And I'll be honest, I usually like that type of character. Like Santana from Glee, love her. Love that character trait on her. Or even Callie Torres from Grey's Anatomy. I like her too. And even Jade from Fic Victorious. Her character was great. But Jessica Olsen was weird. She was almost like it was almost like if Tori Vega and Jade West freaking had a baby. I wanna know what love is. And that's their baby. Looks like Tori, looks like it should be Tori, but has the personality of Jade, times 10. And in the span of an hour and a half movie, Jessica Olsen was probably just the most irritating person. She was so unlikable in my opinion. I know we have different opinions, but in my opinion, she was so unlikable that it almost ruined the movie for me. I bet this would have been one of my top Decom movies if it wasn't for her character. She knocks this character down. She knocks this movie down, by a lot. And I always hate how in TV, especially kids TV, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, they always make the female protagonist the most irritating person, ever, or makes them so stereotypical. The concept of how girls just can't be funny, how they're always the goody two-shoes, and how they always get annoyed and they're always so bitchy and rude and hormonal. And that's exactly what Jessica Olsen is, and they do that a lot. I'm not just talking about Jessica Olsen, I'm talking about in general for Disney Channel movies and Nickelodeon shows and movies. It's the same thing. I feel like the one main exception was Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place.
When I get old, I'm just gonna sit around and read magazines.
That's what you do anyway.
I'm practicing for later.
She's probably the only obsession who's not like that whatsoever. But the first person who comes to my head was the character Charlotte from Henry Danger. Do you guys remember that show? Or Phoebe Thunderman from the Thundermans. Those two characters were the most stereotypical, goody two shoes, bitchy kind of like girl characters, and Phoebe wasn't even like that. Phoebe was supposed to be like the goody two shoes proper girl, but she sometimes came off as a bitch for no reason. And I feel like they definitely put all those traits into Jessica Olsen, and that's why this movie wasn't one of my favorites, mainly because of her character. I feel like her character just wasn't written well. That being said, when she isn't acting like a really irritable person, she seems like a really cool person. But again, that's hardly ever in the movie. She has like an on again, off again, like love hate relationship with Christopher Wilde, the pop star, for basically the entire movie. Sometimes she's freaking falling all over him. Sometimes she freaking hates him. And it's a really on again, off again thing to the point where I'm like, do you like this guy or not? Like, honestly, we could tell that he freaking loves you. But I don't know if you like him. It just depends on what mood she's in. Again, back to the stereotype that all girls are freaking hormonal and get mad over everything that a guy does. It's not always like that. Because a certain thing this show got mad about wasn't even Christopher Wilde's fault. Sometimes it was both equally their fault or it was no one's fault. And she would just get bitchy about to him for literally like 20 minutes. I have no clue how this guy handled her. Like, it was crazy. But then the next scene, she would act like she's in love with him again for no apparent reason. Like, do you like this guy or not? Because his personality towards her was pretty much the same the entire movie. But hers changed like freaking insane. And of course, obviously at the end, they get together. Kind of. Fun fact, when they were filming this movie, Christopher Wilde, aka Sterling Knight, the actor, he was 20 while filming this movie. And Danielle Campbell, the girl who plays Jessica Olsen, was 14. She was 14 while filming this movie. That's crazy. That's like me dating a 14-year-old. Like, ew. That chick was 14. No way she was freaking 14. So that's why they never had a kissing scene at the end. Because it's illegal. I'm not gonna lie, I'm more curious why they casted her as Jessica Olsen to begin with. Don't get me wrong, I think she played the part pretty well. And I think that she's a great actress, a great singer, she's really beautiful. But again, 14. And she wasn't even known on Disney Channel. I understand Sterling Knight. He was like, you know, the person they're trying to pretend is like the new Zac Efron, but he really wasn't at all. He was in Sunny with a Chance, That's a Raven, he acted with Demi Lovato, so people knew him, so that's what they're like, oh, let's just put him in this movie. Trying to like, show everyone what he got, everyone's gonna watch him because he's a good looking guy. Put him in this movie, more girls gonna watch it. I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised they didn't book like Naomi Scott or something, the girl from Lemonade Mouth, to play Jessica Olsen, to kind of promote the new to promote the new movie Lemonade Mouth that was coming out later that year. Or what's her name? That girl from Geek Charming. Sarah Hyland. Why not get Sarah Hyland? But anyway, what I liked about the movie is that it definitely was a cute fanfic trope. I know I kept saying that, but I really do enjoy movies that are simple but have a really compelling plotline, like this one. It always fascinates me how people are so like fascinated with this trope, how this is such a popular fanfic trope and just a story trope in general. But every time they do it, they seem to make it so different at the same time. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is such an original movie, but it's really not at the same time. It's really weird. Onto the soundtrack, though. Great. Definitely great. I'll be honest, I streamed Something About the Sunshine literally so much. So much nostalgia. Such a great song. Oh my god. I definitely think this movie and like the song should be talked about more. Because people only talk about Camp Rock for being like cringy. And they talk about High School Musical for being a classic. But no one ever talks about Starstruck. Hardly ever. So I give this movie a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. A point for good songs, good storyline, decent characters, good conflict, good actors, a pretty satisfying ending, I would say, pretty nice character arc, and minus the points for Jessica Olsen, Jessica Olsen, and Jessica Olsen. Case closed.